and welcome to the Scarf Bergara Wore, a Stockport County podcast for county fans by county fans. We will be covering the 1-1 draw with Cardiff City in the match review tonight. Any Cardiff fans listening, this is a county podcast, which means we will be focusing on county. So I'm sorry if I offend you in any way, or if anybody offends you anyway, but we will be probably saying that you were a bit shit and we were pretty unlucky. Okay, so yeah, turn off now if that's going to make you uncomfortable. Tonight, I'm joined by Dan Culverwell, Steve Barsley, and Dave Whitehead. Thank you for joining me, guys. And we are going to be positive Peters, okay? Positive Peters for at least the first 20 minutes, because there was tons to be positive about. And then maybe after 20 minutes, we can focus on a few other bits, but we're going to do that to begin with. So, Dan, putting your positive Peter hat on, take us through the starting 11, please, buddy.
Yep. So obviously the big debate, would Adai start in goal? And yes, he did. So you had Adai in goal. I thought it was more of a back three with Clint Hill in the middle, Aluru. You had Ethan Pye.
Clint Hill.
Brad Hill.
Clint Hill, whoever he is. He sounds good.
Yeah, well, one of the hills. Or Hill. So yeah, sorry. Aluru, Hill, Pye, Onyango as your right wing back, Osborne as your left wing back, a midfield of Bailey, Norwood, and then you had sort of like Diamond in the hole behind, definitely a front two, I thought, of Anderson and Wharton. Thought Mob's a little bit all over the place. So yeah, for me, and I know Dave Challoner goes about formations with and without the ball, and I think that was very much the case for Saturday. But for me, the definite buts were you definitely had two up front with Wharton and Anderson, and it was a little bit more floating, depending if we had the ball and not behind them.
Expected for you, Steve?
Sort of. I think I predicted the defenders last week on last week's match review. So, but I wouldn't have been surprised if he'd gone with four at the back. But he does have this kind of, he likes to switch it during, like you say, in and out of possession. So you could argue, Osborne played that left wing back. So not really surprised. I thought he might have put Ben in yesterday. I thought he might have given him a chance, but he's gone with a die again, which is, fine. But apart from that, and the other surprise for me was Benno up front. I didn't really expect him to play either.
David, do you think Benno deserved his spot? Obviously, he's come back from international duty. He scored a goal, I believe, for the under-21s. Is that right? Last minute equaliser, I think.
He did, yeah. I think he deserves a shot. Why not? I mean, everyone at the club seems to sing his praises all the time, from the management staff and stuff, and saying he's the best finisher that we've got. So why not give?
Yeah. So Cardiff City came to town. Obviously, they were top of the table, and they'd scored, I think it was 11 goals, conceded 1. Were we confident that we were going to see a performance? Obviously, we know that Dave's teams don't tend to lose 2 on the bounce. In fact, they haven't done, have they? Never lost 2 on the bounce with Dave. League games, sorry. So was there confidence amongst us?
I was confident there was going to be a reaction. It's one of them games for me where I was excited and nervous at the same time. I thought there'd be a reaction, but it's county at the end of the day, and we sort of being positive. We've seen the story before, but yeah, no, I was positive. Dave talked last week about entitlement, and maybe some fans think that we get a little bit entitlement to win. I back us to win regardless who we play. I think we can win the World Cup. I think we can win the Oxford boat race. If we put into Wimbledon, we're going to win Wimbledon. I believe that Stockport County will win everything. Put us into Ukraine and we'll win that war as well. That's how I feel about Stockport County. So I don't feel entitled that I know we won't win every game we play. I think
Sorry, Dan. That is a negative comment saying that we won't win every single game that we play.
Well, but Dave's stats, I think he wins just over 50% of the games that he's managed as Stockport County manager. So, that tells you its own stats. I expected a response. I think we got that sat response. That was a Dave Challoner Stockport County side, for sure. And I was after 20 minutes, I was a lot happier than what I was after 20 minutes at Plymouth last week.
Yeah, and let's talk about why we think it was more positive. And I'm going to give plenty of credit to Odin Bailey here. I've said in the past that I don't quite know where his preferred position is in this team in a back three. He's not a wing back. I don't think he's he's not got the pace to be one of the supporting sort of roles like a Diamond or a Fevrier in a front sort of 2 or 3 if you're doing a 3-4-3 or whatever. But bloody hell, alongside Norwood, and it was a 2 in midfield. I wonder whether Osborne would be, as you said, Steve, I wonder whether it would be a 4-3-3 and Bailey and Osborne and Norwood would occupy that midfield. But I mean, Steve, talk me through Bailey's performance in, let's say the whole game, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I had my reservations. I thought if he'd been in like a 3-man field or midfield, I would have been a bit more confident. But the fact he was in a 2-man midfield with Norwood, I thought, how's this going to go? But I thought it was excellent. His control of the ball, he's winning the tackles, his passing. He was really, really good, and I thought he had an excellent game. And like we talked about Benno before, deserving a shot. Odin deserved a shot. I was at the whatever that trophy was the other week when
Wolves under 21s.
Yeah, and he was excellent at that game as well. So I actually thought Fiorini would have got a shot yesterday if it wasn't the fact he was injured. So the natural next one to come in for me would have been Bailey, and he, for me, he did a great job, and he starts at Rotherham.
Yeah, and the first sort of the first 2 minutes, Hills for me looked like he was proper up for it, aggressive. I mean, I think in the first 30 seconds, he sticks their centre forward into the advertising audience. A little bit naughty. But
that was a yellow, wasn't it? It should have been a yellow.
Yeah,
especially with that referee, because in that the referee that's obviously sent him off at Wrexham as well, wasn't it? Yeah. The Wrexham referee, so he sent him off at Wrexham, and it was a little.
Just on Hills though, he played the centre back. And we've been crying out for that. He looks like a natural centre back, someone who's going to win every header, and it was great to see him play there. So I was really pleased he played in that position.
Yeah, I mean, the fact he's so good on the ball, I think, probably makes you think he can play in that right-sided position and sort of come forward with the ball. But I think what Onyango does for us is, and let's face it, another positive thing from me, I back Onyango against any player in this division one-on-one. He's strong, he's tall, so he's going to win headers. He's got crazy octopus legs, so he can sort of get his legs round and tackle someone. Even when you think he's beaten, he sort of comes back at his player. So one-on-one, he's great. And he also gives us something going forward as well. He's good in the air, obviously. So in our own box, on corners and things like that, the amount of times that you see him heading the ball away as well. I can see why we really push to get him.
Yeah. And I think over a 30-yard pace, I think he's probably one of the fastest in the club as well. You think he's going to be quite slow because he is quite really tall, but I think over like 30, 40 yards, he has got some legs and stride on him as well, on Onyango.
Yeah, so sort of going into a bit more detail on that first half, and I'm going to get the old stats out sort of early in the pod, just to show how dominant we were. So possession was pretty equal, but 53-47. But you expect that from a Cardiff side who've got. I mean, Ruben Cole was getting a lot of love, I believe, from their own fans. I thought we made him look pretty ordinary yesterday. But yeah, our XG was 2.06 and theirs was 0.03. We had 10 shots to their 1. We had 2 on target. Theirs wasn't on target. And we absolutely bossed that first half. Absolutely bossed it. We hit the post. Benno had a header saved. Do we think it was a Stonewall penalty, or was it a little bit iffy, maybe?
I haven't seen
lightweight.
Yeah, I haven't seen the replay of it yet, but I thought it's one of them ones you see them all the time and they're never given. You know, they're more likely. It's 1 in 5 of them sort of claims are given, as we saw in the second half. So I was surprised it was given because, like I say, if it's a foul or not, it doesn't really matter nowadays. Usually the referee bottles it. So, but yeah, I was a bit surprised with that one.
Decent hit from Norwood there. Again, he's. I mean, I'm not going to put the kiss of death on him, but he's not missed one, I don't think, for us, is he? So,
but did you find that Norwood seemed to be playing sort of 10 yards forward this week? Normally he's in that sort of quarterback role, isn't he? But I thought he was, especially that first half, he was sort of up the field a lot more. And it's sort of that gives us a footprint of the press and winning the ball back higher up the pitch. And we just seem to be playing that first half just sort of 10 yards further up the pitch all the time.
I think Dave certainly trusted his 3 central defenders to handle their 3 forwards. I think that was one of the key things in the first half. Olowu, Pai, brilliant, like back to prime Pai, I would say, in that game. Olowu, a little bit shaky the first sort of 10 or 15 minutes, but putting my positive hat on, he grew into the game and he was excellent. And I think that having that enabled us to then really push up on them, didn't it? And Benno's like an Alan Armstrong type of player for me. He drops deeper, I think low, cracking finisher. Not quite sure whether he's got the ability to drop into those little pockets that Benno does. And that makes a massive difference in midfield because you got Benno dropping back in. Norwood was pushing on to their sort of midfielders as well. And with Bailey being, I mean, I don't know how he's so fit because he's not played many games. He's not played many 90 minutes. And he was running them down, which I've never seen him do before, really. So yeah, it was all good. Okay, so moving on. So so first half stats done. An XG of 2 to their 0.03, as I've just said. We are 30 minutes in. I'm actually going to break my rule. I said 20 minutes, didn't I? I'm going to say one little negative here. So please. Okay, I'll put that done now. So should we have scored more goals in that first half, Dave? Steve,
Dave.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. If we'd have gone in at half time 3 or 4 up, I don't think anybody would have said that we didn't deserve it. Yeah. We was unbelievable in that first half.
Yeah.
You know, we tore them apart. They just couldn't live with us. It was cracking. I was like, yeah, what's going on here?
So were you with that Brecky chance, were you all jumping up and down and then go, what? It's not gone in?
Yeah.
Is that the one when he hit the post?
Yeah. We're all celebrating it as it's going into the goal, thinking it's going in, and then it's not gone in. Why's it not gone in?
Well,
their keeper made a great save as well, didn't he?
He did. Yeah. I mean, Benno had 3 really great chances, didn't he? And in the half, he had the one that hit the post. He had the header where the keeper saved it from about 3 yards out. And then he had the one where Wotton put him through on the left. And I think the keeper got a touch to that as well, if I remember correctly. So they were 3 really great chances. And really, I'm not kind of faulting Benno here because he took the chances well, but you want one of them going in, don't you? And then not only that, I don't know if you remember, Olowu had 2 really good chances in the 6-yard box, both where he was unmarked and he kicked the ball. And they weren't easy chances because they were coming at him at pace, but either of those 2 could have ended up in the back of the net as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wanted him to somehow head them. Obviously, he couldn't head them
in or whatever.
It was a volley. It was a volley, but yeah, he's not the person that you want to have a volley and sort of
but
out. Is the
but promising though, wasn't it? I mean, that first half, the amount of chances we created, the way we played, Ollie Norwood was phenomenal for me. I thought Wotton took about 15 minutes to get into the game. I don't think he won ahead for the first 15 minutes. Then once he got into the game, I thought he was superb. And just kind of talking about Cardiff as well. Did you notice in the first half the amount of times Cardiff went for that long ball into the corners?
Yeah.
And it either went out for a throw in or it went out behind the touch. And they obviously had a game plan that I think when we come into the second half, we might need to talk about it again. But in the first half, they kept at that and it didn't work for them at all.
Yeah.
Definitely. And they also were trying to use that big tall guy as a target man as well. And Hills, as I said before, he had him in his back pocket, really. He kept winning his headers. And I think what also helped was we were winning second balls as well. Sometimes you can be losing those second balls, and that's really where Bailey and Norwood sort of came into it. And I think that was having that stranglehold on the midfield. I don't think Cardiff are used to that. I think they're used to having that midfield area for themselves and working the ball side to side, and they just weren't able to do that.
But we talked. I mean, I talked about it before that it was definitely going to be a game for me about individual battles, and Saturday we won most of the individual battles. I think Pye won his individual battles. Brad Hills won his individual battles. When he won his individual battles, we got an opportunity from it. I think he could have won a few more. I think their defender sort of managed to get in front of him and sort of win the ball off him a few times, more than I would want him to or like. But yeah, individual battles all over the pitch. Even Bailey, winning the ball back. If Cardiff got the ball, Bailey was snapping at ankles really, really quickly to win it back. They were up for it. Then that's the same again. Go back to obviously not the entitlement of what we expect of County, what we expect of a Dave Challoner's County team from the day he walked through the building was, the motto was intensity is our identity. And that was back on Saturday. Yeah. Front foot, intense, not giving any quarter. I was over the moon.
Should we just talk about the partnership with Wootton and Benno? Because I don't think that they could live with them at all. They seem to have a very good understanding as to, like, Wootton knows where Benno's going to be. Even not talking about flick-ons, which obviously is an obvious one, balls to feet as well. They were popping the ball off to each other. And that's what gave Benno the space, wasn't it, Steve? Which you've already alluded to when he broke through down the left-hand side. Okay. So at half time, I was really happy, but I was also really sad. And I was sad because we weren't 2-0 up. And I was saying to Chloe that when you play in a team as good as Cardiff, they're obviously no mugs. They can't be mugs if they've won 5 and drawn 1 or whatever they've done for the first 6 games. You've got to put them to the sword when they are in a bad moment. And that was my only slight negative on that first half. And I think as County fans, we are used to a little bit of doom and gloom and looking at the stuff like a glass half empty. And that was my half empty moment. I don't know about you, whether you guys were still sort of, we're beating them 1-0. We're going to go and beat them 3-0 after.
I guarantee you there will be County fans in Edgeley Park at half time at that moment that's gone on their phone and bet on us to lose 2-1 at half time. I bet you. And unfortunately that's the way it is. I mean, I was just saying to Toby, 1-0's not a good enough scoreline. We're not at that stage of the season where we think we're going to get a clean sheet or keep a clean sheet. I think Bolton's the only game so far this season that we've kept a clean sheet. We're not at that point. So, like I say, I was nervous, very nervous, worried at 1-0 at half time.
I wasn't.
No,
I wasn't.
I'd watched that first half and I was supremely confident that we were going to come out second half, even though for the last few games we've either been great first half or great second half, but not for a full game. But I was thinking we're going to come out after half time the way that we've played in that first half, and Cardiff didn't offer much, and I just thought we'll do this. We'll get another one here. We'll get another one. We'll get another 2. It'll be cracking. And then it's like, right, well, after that, tails are up. We'll go on a run. like we usually do or something. So I was supremely confident that we were going to go on and get more.
Yeah, there was something different, wasn't there, about the performance yesterday? It's kind of all the games we've been to this season, we've been wanting a performance like that, where every player's giving it them all. They're all winning individual battles all over the pitch. They're winning the second balls. They're closing people down, and it was relentless, wasn't it? The pressure, and that's the first time. I mean, the Bradford home game were excellent, but that was another level of slick football, wasn't it? In the first half. But yesterday was a county performance, I thought, and we'll come on to, we didn't win it in the end, but I was so pleased with the way we played yesterday, and I thought, right, season started for me now.
Okay, well, we'll play a short transition, then we'll come back for the second half, guys. Okay, we are back for the second half of the match review, brought to you by the Scarf Bergara Wore team. We are discussing the 1-1 draw with Cardiff City that happened yesterday. I've got Dan with me, I've got Dave, and I've got Steve. So, Dan, talk me through your thoughts on the fact that Dave didn't make any halftime subs. I think it's pretty obvious why.
There was no reason to. There was nothing. Like I say, good team talk, set them out. Same again, we've seen too many times they've come out looking like one team and we've not come out of the changing rooms in the second half. This was a change. We came out the changing rooms on the front foot again, and within 2 minutes, I think it was, Jackie Diamond could have made it 2-0. We were back on the front foot again for the start.
And that was a good sign for me, the fact that we were on because teams can make little tactical changes. I mean, they brought on a couple of people at halftime, did they? Or did no, they didn't, did they? I think they stuck with it. So their manager's obviously done the old, you've had a shit half, guys. Show me what you can do. I'll give you the first 10 minutes or whatever it was. Show me what you can do. And to be fair, they did naff all, didn't they? You're right. So chance for Jack, and then 58 minutes. I think we had a Stonewall penalty on Benno from the view in the Cheadle end. I don't know what it. So Steve, you'd have been sort of right in line with it, wouldn't you? Because
I was on my way back getting a coffee, so I was right at the far end. Again,
you always miss penalty calls when you're getting your coffee.
But
one job, Steve. One job.
But my mate said it looked like a penalty. Everyone who I was with said it looked like a Stonewall penalty.
How many times do refs give one and then don't give a second unless he's like someone's been absolutely hacked down?
Yeah.
But I think I turned around to Ellis and said that was more of a penalty than the first one was.
Yeah.
But whether or not it's the referee that's got it in his head, well, I've given that one and that was a bit soft, maybe. And then, I'm not giving that one.
Just going back to that first penalty a minute, I was surprised there was no card shown for that first penalty because I didn't think he went to play the ball at all. So I thought it would have been a red card and a penalty. But even if he played the ball, it should have been a yellow card. But no card was issued at all for that first half penalty. But like you say, the second half one on Brecky, I thought was as Stonewall as you get. You could argue that Brecky should be really coming onto that ball and hitting it first time and not giving anybody an opportunity to foul him. But
exactly why would you go down when he is coming onto the ball and he's going to hit it first time and it's probably a goal? So you don't go down there.
Isn't there some rule though where it's double jeopardy and you can't get a red and give a penalty these days?
If you are attempting to play the ball, if you've attempted to play the ball, or if it's not a serious foul play or something like that, then as long as you no double jeopardy. But like I say, no card issued at all for me for that first one. But we weren't going to argue. We got it and we scored it, and like you say, at that moment in time into the second half, we looked the dominant team. We forced them into making the substitutions first. And like you say, they've made 5 substitutions before we've even made 1.
Yeah, by the 72nd minute as well, they played all 5 substitutions, which was a big gamble.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for us, those 5 substitutions made them have more attackers on the pitch.
Yeah, I think they replaced the midfielder and a defender with two forwards.
Yeah, and that's when, as a manager, I guess you've got a choice. You either accept that they've got attackers on the pitch and you counter that with midfielders and defenders, or you think, okay, well, they've got attackers on the pitch. Let's see if we can go and get a second whilst they're a bit further up the field. And we made our changes, or two changes on 73 minutes. So we took off Benno and Odin Bailey, and we brought on Moxon and Camp. So two midfielders. Okay, so we're bringing off a forward, but we've still got Wootton on, we've still got Diamond on. So we've still got potential out balls there. What do we think about those 2 subs, Dave? Were you happy at the time? Do you think that was a sensible decision from Dave Challoner?
I suppose it's one of them. You can kind of look at it 2 ways. In one respect, he's brought 2 guys up there to freshen up the midfield. Because let's be honest, Bailey had a great game yesterday. Ellis normally calls him a fidget spinner because he's usually got the ball, just goes round with it like that before he gets rid of it. But yesterday he was cracking, and then they took him off, and then obviously because they planted more on to go forward, he's gone, right, well, the back line's kind of settled. Let's bring in a bit more midfield, and then at least we can maybe counteract that. So, Moxon coming on, and it was nice to see Camps coming back as well. I thought, we should be all right there with what we've got on there now. So, we should be able to cope with anything that they're going to throw at us.
Yeah, I think the only thing I would say is I was happy with the guys coming on to do exactly what you just said, kind of freshen up the midfield. But I thought Benno was giving them so much work to do. And I just felt like when he came off, there was nobody doing that job. And that was my only thing. I thought Benno's, I didn't know if he'd come off because he'd played, the 2 international games. I didn't know if it was a plan to bring him off at that time. I had no idea. But I felt like when he came off, there was something missing for me.
Yeah, definitely. I think because we 2 up front. The 2 up front were occupying the Cardiff defence. It was hurrying them up. They weren't allowed to play out from the back. They weren't allowed to sort of play their sort of passes and triangles of play. And the 2 up front for us was what was working. That pressure, the press on it. And once we, like I said, the substitutions weren't just a light for light substitutions. It was a change of formation, and I think that change of formation didn't help our cause.
I think the 2 up front for us also made them their back line sit back even further. Obviously, when it was just Wootton, it allowed them to step forward 5 or 10 yards, which then enabled them to get up the pitch sort of 5 or 10 yards and start pressuring us a little bit. So I think we'll all probably agree that on 82 minutes, okay, well, we bring Corey O'Keefe on, so that's a like for like for Tyler Onyango. Again, you can argue, you can see why Dave's done that. Tyler Onyango's only just come back into the club. He's not had many minutes.
He went off with an injury though, didn't he? He was holding his leg.
Yeah, he was.
I think he kind of had to go off. Yeah.
Was it not cramp on Yango? Was that somebody else? I think it was cramp. I'm pretty sure he went down, and I know that one of his teammates was doing the old sort of.
But my argument with Corey O'Keefe one was, we've said before many times, he's great as a wing back. He's awful as defending. So if you're going to defend for your life, me personally, just stick Connolly out as a full back. So stick Aluru out as a full back. One player that we've said can't defend but can cross a ball is O'Keefe, and we stick him back there to defend. I just like.
And they were getting some overloads on that side as well on him. I noticed that a few times they had 3 to R2, and then I think this is the final substitution, taking off Diamond, who'd run his socks off, bless him. And again, another guy who can be an outball for you when he's obviously not knackered, but bringing on Connolly. And it wasn't just the bringing on Connolly, it was taking Ethan Pye out of that 3-man defence and putting Connolly in to the 3-man defence and putting Pye out to the left.
Yeah.
That's how it looked to me anyway. I don't know whether you guys, because Osborne then went into central midfield. So yeah, I mean Osborne can play central midfield, but putting Connolly into that position, we've said, I can't remember what other game it was that we sort of commented on this. As soon as Dave changes the back sort of three that have this understanding as to where they should be, is that going to cause us problems?
So
Well, it did.
Yeah, I jump in here because I've got a completely different view to, I think, everybody. I thought it was entirely the right decision to do it. The reason for that is, and I know I've read on Yellow Board, everybody said it was a bad decision, but at the time, if you watched for the 5 minutes leading up to the 90th when Connolly came on, they switched their left forward at Wilcock, who set the goal up. They switched into the right. They were getting all sorts of joy down the right hand side. With Diamond on the pitch, he wasn't being an outlet at that stage in the game. It wasn't happening, and everything was going down that side. So I think Charlie's thought process was, let's get Ethan Pye out there. He can play that position, no problem. He can play that. Get him out there. Get that guy marked, and then you've got an extra body in there and defend the game. And I don't think that's a bad thing. These guys are going to come at us. I thought it was okay. I know I'm in the minority here, and even if you watch the goal, and I don't know if you want to talk about the goal now, or
go for it. Yeah.
So that ball goes out to Pye. Pye allowed him to cut inside and cross the ball. He shouldn't. He was that far off him. He shouldn't have allowed him to cross the ball. Whether that's tiredness or what, but that was a mistake. If he'd let him, tried for him to kind of run past him. Connolly was waiting in the middle. Connolly was free in the middle to pick up if he got past him, then Connolly was there to pick the player up. So that would have solved that issue. Anyway, the cross comes in. Brad Hills wasn't tight enough to his man, which I think was an issue. And Corey made that kind of, am I going for it? Am I not going for it? A little bit indecisive. So I think if he'd gone for it, he may have got there with a punch. Not sure. If he stayed on his line, he would have had a better chance of saving it. But the indecisiveness didn't help. So you've got 3 mistakes there, and those 3, combination of those 3 mistakes, equaliser. But that was the only negative thing in the entire game. Yeah, that was it. You're not going to get through a whole game and not give teams chances like that. It's going to happen. That's my views on it anyway. I know I'm in the minority.
You're spot on with everything you just said there. Like you say, because obviously the debate raging on at the moment will be it's all Corey's fault, which, yes, a proportion of the blame will be at Corey's feet. But like you said, Ethan Pye obviously has to look at something, even Connolly's position, and obviously Brad Hills, what he's defending, has to take some sort of accountability for that as well. I just thought personally, we needed an out ball. I thought if you put on Mother's Hill up front, you've got something then to run onto the ball and out ball to put that pressure on. And we just didn't seem to have that. The ball was just keep on coming back to us. We just couldn't hold it up.
Yeah,
it wasn't going to Wharton.
I kind of know what you're saying there, and I completely understand that thought process. But you've also got, if we'd have not put Connolly on and let a goal in, and I know this is hypothetical, everybody was saying, why have you got Connolly on the bench, who's been one of our best defenders this season, and not put him on for the last 5 minutes?
And I think that shows the fine lines, because let's face it, if he ballooned that cross into the railway end and we win that game 1-0, we're the narrative just switches, and we're like, tactical masterclass from Dave, putting those defenders on, making us nice and solid, well done. But because that didn't happen, the narrative can be switched, and you're thinking, oh, well, what happens if we did have that out ball after all? And I think that's such a shame for the team, and I'm really sort of quite sad for the team, the fact that they put so much effort into that, and the performance that they put out there was our best of the season, the most complete performance that we've seen this season, and probably in the top 5 over the last couple of seasons, to be fair. And not to get the 3 points and that little shot in the arm, I'm just really sad for them, because they deserved it. And that's frustration.
I think pre-match, I always back County to win. I think most of us back County to win, regardless who we play. But none of us would have been unhappy with a draw before we kicked the ball. against the league leaders that have not conceded and still haven't conceded a goal in open play yet this season, I would have took a draw. It's just the fact that it's the last 30 seconds of the game
It's a
that
sickener, isn't it?
it
really is.
compounds it, and it's more of emotion speaking. But I was happier with, obviously, that result on Saturday than what I was after 30 minutes, 40 minutes at Plymouth. Two completely different performances at different ends of the scales. The one against Plymouth, no heart, no fight, no desire, nothing that resembled a Dave Challoner's team, and would have got us played like that most times, we'd be relegated out of this division. Saturday against Cardiff, that was a Dave Challoner's team. Everything that we get told we get to see from his teams, and if we play like that, we will win most games this season.
Dave, so I mean, Steve touched on the Coriadai thing, and it's been done to death all over the place. Do you think it's really coming down to confidence now? When you're not a confident, but when you aren't confident as a goalkeeper, indecision becomes your enemy.
Yeah, absolutely. I said it on previous pods that he's a confidence player, and his confidence at the minute is quite low. Getting on to his indecisiveness, as soon as he stopped, you just knew that he was going to get pelters, and nobody at the minute is going to talk about the two things that happened before, and Pye not stopping the cross, the two centre halves not picking up the guy that actually scored. I mean, once he's made his mind up to start coming for that ball, he needs to just come. And if he
misses it, if he
doesn't get close to it, then realistically, he's either right in front doing a starfish at the guy, and if it goes in, then it goes in, and you know that's one of the things. But the guy's 6'8", you know, he's longer than two of us put together. You know, he should have just carried on coming out, probably narrowed it down, or if he's not confident enough to come for it, then stay on your line, and you've got a save to make potentially. But because of his indecisiveness, he did neither, and he ended up just sitting down, and it flew over him, which is unfortunate. I want him to do well, I really do, you know.
Me too.
But it's just one of them.
I mean, I was talking to my dad before the game in the Armoury, and my dad's a Charlton fan, but he's also a county season ticket holder because he lives in Manchester, and he comes to county probably, I don't know, 50-60% of the games. He's getting a bit old now as well. Sorry, Dad. And he was saying that they used to have a goalkeeper called Dean Kiley, if anybody remembers him. And it was well known that Dean Kiley would not come off his line at all. But the defence knew that as well. So they were like, okay, well, Dean Kiley's not going to come off his line for those sort of crosses. So we need to deal with it. Okay. Yeah. And then he'll be there, hopefully, to make a save if it comes in his sort of direction. Are we trying to change Coriadai's natural tendencies? Okay. Obviously, he doesn't like coming off his line. And is it almost better to know, listen, this guy ain't coming off his line for any sort of thing. So that defense has to head that ball out. But because there's this pressure that's sort of mounting on him to check, you're 6'8", mate. You got to come off your line. You to take everything out. Is that the thing that is starting to cause some even more problems? Because if you look at Ethan Pye, after that ball goes in, both of them have a massive slanging match with each other, and Corey's sort of shouting at him, and Ethan Pye's like, "Oh, what you doing?" And that can't be good either for the defense, can it?
No.
But they're just not confident in what he's going to do. And in all fairness, I don't even think he knows himself. Sometimes, you know, it's such a shame. But at the top, at the height that he is, you would have thought all of these would have been basic necessities that have been taught since he was playing under sevens football. You know, because I'm not having that he wasn't a tall kid when he was younger. You know, he probably was, but these things should have been taught growing up. in grassroots and in academies and stuff.
Do you think it's also, I'm going to ask you this, Dan. So obviously the first time he's played at League One level, okay, with us this season, last season. Do you think the quality of the balls that are coming into the box maybe are better than he's ever faced before? The trajectory that they're coming in at, or the position that they're coming in at, or is that?
I personally, I think it's just there isn't the leadership in that defence. Really, I'd be interested. Obviously, if you guys haven't heard the podcast that the Russ and Andy and Waggy did with Mike Flynn, it's a really good listen, and they're going to be doing that sort of thing once every sort of month, hopefully. And it'd be interesting to know what his take would be if he was in that defence, obviously with a keeper without that confidence. Because I think if you had a Mike Flynn in that, not just Mike Flynn would have cleared it and headed it, but he would have managed, marshalled, commanded that defensive line to rather defend higher up or clear it all out. And like Dave Challoner said in his interview, and if you've not heard his interview yet, it's a cracking one. He says everything that we want to hear, really. They've got to clear that ball out. You know, if he wins a header, he's going to win that header, score a goal, but he's got less teeth in his mouth. That's what should have happened. And it didn't. And it, just like I say, it'll be interesting when the guys sit down with Mike Flynn next time to sort of see what his take would be if he's played with a goalkeeper that wasn't that confidence and how they got round it as well.
In all fairness, mate, we'll have probably won about 4 in a row at that point, so it won't get spoken about.
Yeah, hopefully. And the thing is, it's fine lines in football, isn't it? There was 2 things yesterday that stopped us winning that game. One is we didn't score enough goals. We had plenty of chances to score enough goals. Yeah. And the other is one mistake, which is a combination of 3 players at the end, all making individual mistakes, and we let a goal in. The problem with Corey is there's a lot of focus on him now, isn't there? And you know, he needs some confidence. Take him out, put Ben in. I'm not saying Ben's a better keeper or not. I'm not saying I think they've both got the flaws, they've both got the positives, but you need confidence, and now's the time to swap it. Give him a few weeks out, see what Ben does. He'll get another chance again this season, and then bring him back with renewed confidence if need be.
So there's an interesting.
I'm sorry.
I was going to say there's an interesting comment, obviously, in Dave's post match about fitness. Now, I think I agree with him a certain aspect, not necessarily physically running around, but I think we get to a certain point in games where our mental fitness, we start making poor decisions on and off the ball. And I don't know if that's what he was more alluding to when he was talking about fitness for that goal. It was more just poor in-game management decisions, poor decisions on the ball and stuff like that. And like you say, I don't know if that's where that fitness bit comes from.
But we are talking League One footballers as well, and just a tiny loss of concentration, or I mean, let's face it, Brad Hill's had that guy under control for 95.5 minutes.
Exactly. Yeah.
And one tiny mistake, he lets him run off him, and they score, which is okay.
And Mike Flynn's done that in the past. We've all seen plenty of games where Mike Flynn's not. He's not. You know, he was a brilliant defender, but he wasn't 100% perfect every game.
Yeah, and we've seen Ben concede plenty of goals like that as well. Yeah. So there's everyone says, "Oh, Ben would have saved it." Don't get me wrong, Ben's a legend, but he's not like he's played so many games for the club. What is it? Over 450 now games, is it, for the club he's played? And he's never conceded a goal.
Oh, what was that one? Was it Gary Stopworth? Passed it back to him in one game and it went through his legs into the net.
Yeah.
You know, these things happen. These things happen.
Yeah.
Definitely. But I like you say, I hope they take the positives out of that. Start Rotherham next Saturday on that front foot. Forget the last 2 minutes of the Cardiff game and just continue on from there.
Yeah, and the positives for me, I think I like that back 3 that we had. We've also got Hoskonen to come back in as well, but I think Pye, Hills and Olawu, they look solid for me. I like Osborne as left wing back. I know he's sort of filling in a little bit before Adun comes back, but he was up and down. I don't think he's played much for Derby in pre-season, but geez, this guy's got a decent engine on him. We know how great Norwood is, and I really think that partnership with Wootton and Benno is going to really bear some fruit for us. I think they really complement each other, and Benno will. I've said it before. I said it last season. He will break our record sale for a player. Absolutely no question. Whether it's next year or the year after, I don't know. But we're getting more than £1 million for him, or £1.5 million, whatever we got for Tanto.
It feels with Benno, though, he gets a goal early in a game, he's going to get an hat-trick for me. I think if you say he scores early on Cardiff, he doesn't just score one in that game. He does, like I say, he comes away with 2 or 3 easily. And like I say, it'll come. It's like I say, compared to the Plymouth game, it's night and day. The Plymouth game was absolutely devoid. This wasn't. Like I say, there was lots to be positive about. I know we're all upset about the last-minute equaliser, and a last-minute goal, even if it's an equaliser, can feel like a winning goal or a losing goal. But it weren't. Yeah, there was lots and lots of positives out of it.
Agreed. Anyone got anything else they want to chat about before we finish
Well,
up?
I was going to say, my man of the match, I would have gone for Bailey. Obviously, Fotmob, I can't understand how Fotmob have actually ranked him probably the worst county player on the pitch on the day. But for me, he was the man of the match. I thought Bailey. I thought the energy. Same again. When he gets the ball, he's looking to go forward. He turns on the ball. He moves the ball forward. He's not looking to pass it backwards or sideways. And set that tone and energy and pace and everything that we wanted to see. So I think Bailey really deserves a big shout out for his performance on Saturday.
Yeah, 100%. I can't believe he got a 6.1.
But for me, it was Norwood. I thought Norwood was outstanding. I thought he absolutely ran the show. And for me, it was Norwood. My son's man of the match was Pye. And I kind of, if we'd done man of the match at 90 minutes instead of 97, you could argue that as well. I thought he was exceptional. Really had some real battles where he was muscling some of their players to the ground, and a phenomenal player, isn't he? And you know, so anyway, for me, man of the match was Norwood, my son Pye.
Go on, Dave. Who was yours?
Well, mine probably Pye as well, up until like the 90-odd minute. Yeah. So I would have said Pye. I thought he was cracking on the day. Little bit let down with the goal, but obviously at that point, the man of the match would have already been called out, wouldn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They've actually got man of the match.
Aloe. Yeah, Aloe. I'd have gone Bailey, just because he's come in pretty much from the cold for the first team. He's obviously played a little bit in the, I think he played against Crewe, and he obviously played in the Virtue Trophy against the Wolves under 21. So to come into the first team like he did, and to put in a performance like that, hats off to you, Odin. And I reckon actually Campsey may come back into the first team maybe, but I think Moxon's struggling now for his position in that team with Camps and after Bailey's performance.
Yeah, I think at Rotherham it'll be 10 of the 11 for definite. The only one that we're 50-50 on is who'll start in nets. But I think the rest of them all deserve to start without doubt.
What Dave Challoner said, people will get opportunities and they need to take their opportunities. And everybody took, like you said, forget the last 30 seconds, but everybody took their opportunity on Saturday. Nobody let anybody down. For me, apart from the last 2 minutes, but we're not going to talk about that. But yeah, they've all took their opportunities, I thought, that came on at the start of that game. So yeah, it's like you say, 50-50 over the goal. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's an unchanged team again. As long as Onyango wasn't a serious, he's fit and ready to go, I think it'll be an unchanged team.
Yeah. Good stuff. Well, thanks for joining me as always, guys. Just to remind everybody who's listening and watching, we do have a new website. Check it out. It's scarfbergarawore.co.uk. And we were talking about our little prediction sort of league thing. earlier. We always go for county wins, so I drop points because I went for a county win as always. But check that out. There's about 60 or 70 people on that. Just a bit of fun. And then also thank you to our podcast sponsors. So we've got Overpass Clothing and we've got Edgeley Conservative Club Coaches. So thank you to you guys for supporting us. So until next time, we'll sign off. Cheers, guys.
See you later.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.